selling a shot where you're actually going to continue movement and make that defender overplay you while moving by just changing up your footwork or changing your stick work. So what I want to talk about first is the subtle hitch. Okay, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using our back foot to create separation this time. So we're selling a shot where we're stepping in and we're going to use our back foot to drive off. Okay, so a lot of times it might look like this where we're here, we go to step in, boom, step around. Especially when that defender is overplaying, flying out at you, it's a great way to continually get into that window where we can get off a shot. So we're here, step around, stop. Also allows us to get to the cage, get underneath and drive. We're here, step around. Once we understand the basics of inside finishing and understand the movement of the goalie and being dynamic, being able to release from anywhere. Boom, here. Okay, or maybe we're here and it's through our legs in a shovel shot. Maybe it's we get to here and it's here. You see Rob Pennell drive from X all the time. What does he do? He does that shovel shot. Being dynamic, that's what makes great players. Okay, then you can start to work on things like if you get to here, roll it behind the back. Get to here, okay, under the legs. Okay, just being dynamic. So we should always be working on those things. I want to talk about the term catching it loaded. Okay, one key about getting a quick release off in a step down shot or a time and room shot is being able to catch it loaded. And I think what happens is we think that it means just catching it in a shooting position. Yes, we want to catch the ball in a shooting position, but catching it loaded means that catching it, you're loaded to shoot as soon as it comes in. So think of it as that ball is that pullback, right? If you're loading a gun, you got to pull back that thing, right? So when it comes in, catching it loaded means catching it in a shooting position, ready to shoot right when it comes in. So you're here, you're moving towards your target, that's catching it loaded. Catching it loaded is not catch, wind up, shot. It's catch, wind up, shot, all in one. Catching it loaded, shot. When inside finishing, coming from behind, and you're pushing to turn that corner, a lot of times what you hear coaches say is one more step, right? You get to here and you go to turn to shoot. Goalie is right there, right? And the coaches say one more step. We can buy that one more step by throwing fakes before we get above GLE. I always joke with my athletes, there's no activation button along GLE that once you get north of it, the goalie starts reacting to. The goalie's reacting to the ball the whole time. So what we can do is we can start to fake before we get north of the cage. What that does is that fakes the goalie, so when we get above it, we can finish. What I mean by that is I might come here, I might be pushing from X, and throw fakes, and be able to dump it over because I dropped him low. So we can get rid of that one step sometimes. Because if I just look, or I just drop a little bit, I get that goalie to duck. So that step that extra step I would need here, I just bought it by dropping him low here. So I'm here and I can go over him. Okay? This hitch variation from up top in the wing. We're going to work on a hitch, show the hands. Defender doesn't bite, so we're going to plant that inside foot, open it up, square up, re-attack in 2 steps. Try to get either a step down or a quick release on the run in 3 to 4 steps. Get both variations here. Maintain hitch mechanics, show the hands, swing that inside hip, re-attack square. face dodge hitch. Okay, so what we're doing is a lot of times that defender, this works great when he's overplaying us to the inside. This allows us to get underneath and get to the goal. So what I mean by that is you're selling a shot, he's flying out to your inside, and you're just going to drop that. Okay, we talk about sometimes on face dodges how we want to drop that sword. Okay, we drop that sword. It's the same kind of accentuated motion of dropping that sword and getting to the goal. But when we do that, especially from over here, those slides are coming quick, so we want to make sure that we continue motion and get in a straight line. Another reason why that hitch to face dodge works really well is because, especially if you're in your strong hand, we get by that defender, those guys are crashing and sliding hard. So what happens is they try to cut off your lane to the goal, which means they're going to overplay you downfield, which allows you to roll back and drop a goal by moving up the field. We call that a face dodge roll back. So we're here, drop the face dodge, slide comes, overplay, boom, roll underneath that. Notice how I'm sinking my hips so that defender or slide rolls off of me, so I can get a quick shot off. You can also turn into a jump shot where you come up the hash and turn that face dodge, roll back into a jump shot. Okay, so a few keys when we're shooting on the run, no matter where we are. What's important is we just got out of our dodge. Shooting on the run is one of the hardest shots in the game to be successful at. So one of the things I want to point out is we want to maintain the rhythm of our feet. What I mean by that is when we come out of our dodge, we don't want to have to stutter to load. We want to maintain that rhythm at full speed. We want to be able to release the ball moving at full speed, where we don't sacrifice any time where we get that release off. We want to be able to shoot at full speed and get full power while maintaining foot rhythm. The second thing we want to talk about is getting that chin over your shoulder, ripping that core through, and dropping that hammer from your elbow. Okay, it's similar to time and room. We want to get our hips, our feet, our eyes, shoulders, stick, all of them in line with our target, and rip through from our core. Okay, ripping that elbow in a hammer motion, especially when we're on in pressure and we have checks on our hands. That inside elbow hammer will maintain that accuracy and power for follow through. Lastly, the third thing we want to talk about is our follow through. There's a lot of different ways that it's taught. Some people think one way is wrong. Some people think, there's only one way to do it. I don't. I think it works some ways for others and some ways for not. So what I teach is two ways. The two ways that I've found to be most successful is always finishing towards your target. And always finishing in the direction of the cage. Okay? And there's two ways. Whether it's falling towards your target, continuing movement towards it, or falling into a back pedal. Those are the two ways. I don't think one's right or wrong. I think it works better for some people. For me personally, I rotate into a back pedal because I think I'm tall, and I think it kind of just pulls me into that. But some guys like to follow through and finish towards their target. So here's a few reps changing up the follow-throughs. talking about shooting on the run, there's a couple important things to remember. When we're coming from up top, especially as midfielders, one question I always ask my athletes is, who do you think shoots sidearm more, attackmen or midfielders? Sometimes there's confusion, sometimes guys know the right answer. The right answer is attackmen, because attackmen are working upfield. So a lot of times they have to shoot sidearm to create an angle on the cage, right? But when we're coming from up top, most of the time, it's way more effective, and percentage-wise, data shows shooting overhand. That's why you see middies shoot on the run overhand so much. Is because remember the eyes of your stick. If I'm shooting overhand, I have the whole goal here. But if I shoot from out here side on, I'm not actually shooting from where I am. I'm shooting from where my stick is, and now I see less of the goal. So shooting overhand on the run is really important. That's what we're going to focus on here from up top. That hand check, okay? The way to get through that, what I found is using your inside elbow in a hammer motion, like ripping it down through, emphasizing, so you're maintaining accuracy and as much power as you can. So you're coming through and you're ripping that down to get through the check. Ripping that down, pushing it through. Okay, if you watch guys like Paul Rabel shoot lefty on the run especially, that's what it is. He's been doing that for 10 years. Nobody can stop him. He says every scouting report he's been on since college has said when he's lefty, he's going high to low. Bottom right, nobody saves it. It's like because he's so accurate, he's so good with the timing. If you watch it, it's all a hammer motion and a punch through. All right, so I want you guys to think about that when you're getting into contact too. Bring it sidearm. So think of like you have two eyes in the field, the eyes of your head and the eyes of your stick. So let's say I'm shooting from here sidearm. I'm not actually shooting from here, right? I'm shooting from where my stick releases from. That's the eyes of the stick, right? Wrists. I'm just bringing a little more emphasis on snapping, right? Because if I just step like this and just like an overhand shot, it's going to go wide. So I want you to think about placing the ball with your fingertips. So not just the wrist, get the wrists involved, but use the fingertips to put the ball in the spot. What I mean by that is like when you come here, you snap the wrist, but those fingertips are going to give that ball that little extra pull to where you want it to go. Alright, when we talk about inside finishing, one thing that we have to be able to do to be really good dynamic shooters is we have to be able to catch well. Okay, I heard something from a Denver coach one time, and he said the only difference between a good offensive player and a great offensive player is great players catch everything. And the more and more I see, the more and more I watch the game, the more and more I play the game, I realize the great players catch everything. And what it does is it's not that, we talk about Canadians, it's not that Canadians are better at lacrosse. They catch better, which means they get more shots and opportunities to finish the ball. So being able to catch, that's a huge thing. So when we're throwing stick fakes, we want to be quick. Just using our wrists. All it's got to be is a snap. It doesn't have to be a big dramatic fake. It takes too long. We're playing the fastest sport in the world. So what I want to make sure that I do is my wrist snaps are fake, quick, okay, and I'm burying it in the opposite spot of where I just put the goalie. I never want to come around and fake high and go high, right where I just put the goalie. Okay, so I might come here, quick stick fake, go here. Notice what my eyes are doing too. I'm looking opposite. Quick, boom, boom. Okay? Notice what also I'm doing. When I fake low, I'm not actually really moving my stick. My stick is moving with me. I'm just lowering my body a little bit. So I fake high and go low. That's a fake by just dropping low, and then I can go high. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is step down shooting or time and room shooting. And what I think is important is that we identify the three most important things, okay, which is soft hands, quick release, and rotational power. Okay, and furthermore, we want to talk about what is a step down shot, what is a time and room shot. Okay, and what I identify it as any time that our feet are set and we have time and room or space to step down into our shot off a feed. So as you'll see examples of in the folders provided for you guys on time and room shooting, what we're going to talk about here is having a quick release. Okay, quick release. When we're younger, we're often taught things in phases, right? So we're often taught how to catch first, right? Then we're taught how to cradle, and then we're taught how to shoot. And what happens is that progresses over time, and we start to go into our shooting where we catch, we cradle, and we shoot. As we get better and the higher level we play at, the time and the window to get those shots off is a lot smaller and it shrinks, right? So that time it takes to catch, set your feet, do a big wind up, and shoot is no longer there. What's also important to understand is when you catch that ball and you start this big wind up, you've actually lost the power that you could have been generating as the ball comes in. What I talk about a lot is don't stop the momentum of the ball. Okay, stopping the momentum of the ball kills the momentum of the power you're generating, and it also slows down the release that we talk about, how we want that quick release. So what we often teach, and you'll see guys that really do this well, like Will Manny and Paul Rabel and Ryan Brown and Mike Chanenchuk, what they're able to do is they're able to catch the ball under, or catch the ball as it's coming in and release, where the ball never stops moving. So they're able to be set, and they're actually moving into their shot as the ball comes in, and they catch, and they release, okay? So they're not catching, winding up, and shooting. They're catching it as it comes in, and releasing. So the momentum of the ball never stops, and you're generating power the whole way in, maintaining a quick release. In terms of mechanics of step down or time and room shooting, we want to talk about one of the three key phases, which is rotational power, okay? And what it starts by is we want the way we set up, okay? So if I'm set, I don't want to be facing the goal because then there's no rotation. I'm really just relying on a push and a pull, okay? But if I'm set here, I have a nice foundation, okay? My feet, my hips, my shoulders, I have my chin over my shoulder, and my stick is back. So now my feet, hips, shoulders, everything is in line with my target. Okay, what we want to be doing is we want to drive off that back foot. We want to generate power off that back foot and transfer weight from front to back. So we want to generate power by this, driving that. Okay, the second thing is we want to step towards our target. Okay, we want to make sure that when we go to shoot, we're stepping towards our target. Okay, a lot of times what you'll see is goal will be here, and I'll step like this, and I'll pull it. Or I'll step here, and I'll shoot it wide. I want to make sure that I step towards my target, and I say be specific, and step towards a spot in your target. Okay, so you want to go bottom right pipe, step towards that bottom right pipe. Okay? So what we've talked about is we want to be stepping towards our target. Okay, so the first thing we want to do in terms of mechanics and time and room step down shooting, the first thing we want to do is get set up. Okay, so notice how I'm set. I'm not here where I'm just relying on a push and a pull, right? I've got my feet, my hips, my shoulders, okay, and my stick all in line with the target. Okay, and I've got my chin over my shoulder. If your chin's over your shoulder and it's looking behind the cage or wide of the cage, okay, check your stance. Okay, so after that, we want to generate power. We talked about rotational power in the three phases. Okay, that rotational power starts in your back foot and your back hip, driving through while stepping towards your target. Okay, then it starts right here where we want to rip through our core. So we want to simultaneously step, drive, and rip from this core, rip it through our shoulders, all the way through, and allow our back foot to come our front foot, especially when we're practicing. Okay, so ripping that through. The last phase of rotational power, or power in general, what I teach a lot is using that inside elbow as a hammer. Dropping that hammer, okay, down. That's going to rip and enhance that core power, okay, and punching that top hand through. So I've set up a rectangle here, and what I like to focus on is trying to stay inside the rectangle and being able to check every rep to see where I am and how my mechanics looked in the process. So we want to get set first. Feet, hips, shoulders, stick, all facing our target. Okay, my chin is over my shoulder. I'm looking at my target. Okay, when I say step to it, I want you to literally step towards the spot in the goal. So if I want to go bottom right, I'm going to step towards the bottom right pipe. Okay? I'm going to drive off this back foot, and I'm going to rotate and pull through, snapping that hammer down, finishing with my back foot becoming my front foot. Step hard, like you're stepping up and around your defender, and then swim way too fast. Okay, so it'll be like this. Here, catch, okay. Right, and you can swim and then get to your left, right? Boom, boom, swim, there you go. The other thing we want to make sure of when we're inside finishing is we want to know where we are in the field. We want to know where we are in relation to the goal. We also want to understand that the goalie is moving with us, or moving with the ball. So what I mean by that is the goalie's here, and the ball's moving around the field, or I'm moving across the crease. The ball's over here, the goalie's moving like this. Okay, now if I'm inside, finishing on the crease, and I'm coming across, he's coming here, she's coming here. Okay, which is a big thing to understand. So if I'm drifting across the crease after a catch, he's going to be over here. If I'm coming here, he's moving with me. So where do I want to go? Opposite. This is also a great time to use it behind the back, because what happens is we run out of angle. So if I'm way down here, it's really hard for me to get an overhand shot, okay, to bury it opposite when he's here. So what I can do is I can either reach around him, okay, here, or I like to go opposite with it behind the back shot where I'm here, and I go there. Okay, and that behind the back shot, if you realize, the eyes of my stick, overhand, I run out of angle here. The eyes of my stick are here. The goalie's right there. If I go behind the back, now I'm actually shooting from here, and I have the whole cage on me.
I got the mop, watch him like a surgeon. And I'm ballin', that's why I done it.
Let's say I'm coming down on a break, or I get inside. Instead of throwing fakes and taking time, what I can use is my eyes. Use your eyes as the fake. So what I mean by that is if I'm coming down here, okay, and I get my stick to the inside, instead of faking, right, I want to just look somewhere else. Dip my chin to my chest, or look high and go low. So I get to here, I might just dip, then go high. Control the entire slide with my eyes, right? In that clip, you notice what he does is he comes out of his dodge. What's the first thing he does? Hands and eyes up, right? That controls the defensive slide. If that guy, if he slides to me, I can feed this guy. So it freezes him, right? What it does is it allows you to make a decision. If he doesn't come, boom, he's up. If he does come, you make a feed, and the next slide is later. Right? So what I want you to do here, come out of it, eyes up, as if the slide doesn't come, and step down. Okay? Eyes up, hands up. Good, get those hands up also.
Once you touch out,
Eyes and hands up. Ready to feed? Out there, good hesitation. Ryan, get those hands up as we're going to feed. Really emphasize it. Boom. Eyes up, hands up, out there, boom. Okay,
now we're going to put the shoot.
No.
Yes. You know how big the break is. Okay, once you get through, okay, you get through, you do the tip-top screw heel.
Boom. Eyes, hands up.
Tip-top, right? What I want you to do is I want you to do a step over, turn, play me, branch out,
Eyes, hands up. No slide, step down. Good job.